New Mexico is the fifth largest state in the country, with more than 121,000 square miles. Yet it only has 3 interstates traversing its vast high deserts. Connecting the cities, towns, villages, and communities are hundreds of trails that tell a much more compelling story than any freeway ever could. Hey friends, Chad Brummett here, and welcome to another Aventura. And today we're going to be taking the Turquoise Trail, which is one of my absolute favorite byways in New Mexico, from Albuquerque all the way up to Santa Fe. But along the way, we're going to check out a number of my favorite little hidden treasures before we hit up the city different. So as with any good adventure, you need to start off with a full stomach. So we're going to hit up one of my personal favorites, as well as a personal favorite of many folks at KRQE. And it's not just because this place is close to our station. It may very well be the friendliest grill on the historic Route 66. Situated just off of Rio Grande and Central is a downtown favorite serving up spicy green chili and spicier dad jokes.
You guys hear about the circus that caught on fire?
The what?
Circus.
When I put their food down, okay, what's the joke of the day? That they're ready for it, you know? And
I heard it was intense.
Oh.
I just like that little smile they get, you know?
You can find George Griego, owner of Central Grill and Coffee House, here most days, making his rounds to the tables.
I call it touching the tables. I like to go to all the tables and touch them and see how they're doing.
And developing relationships, one burrito or sandwich or burger or enchilada or omelet at a time.
We always wanted all our guests to feel like they were welcome in the restaurant. Not to the point where they were family, but we wanted them to really feel like, you know, this was like a home place.
Years before it was Central Grill, this place was a burger chef, an early competitor to McDonald's and Burger King. In fact, the old chain pioneered kids' meals and flame broiling before shuttering in the late 80s. Decades later, Griego and his wife Alicia rebranded the prime piece of real estate as Central Grill. But as George says, he didn't know what he was in for when he opened the doors in 2014.
And that was crazy because we had it open by November. We weren't ready, but the city didn't want any more drive-thrus. So if we weren't open by November, they weren't going to let us use our drive-thru. So we opened up and we were just selling cookies.
Fortunately, that menu expanded significantly, and while they still offer cookies, they have added dozens of breakfast and lunch favorites, including mine, the Grande Burrito Smothered.
You know, on a flat top oven, you know, the way we cook it with some butter, you know, when we top it off with our potatoes, you know, bacon. And then, of course, you know, New Mexico is known for the green and red chili, the Christmas burrito, you know, and the egg, man, it just makes it so good because the tortilla's warmed up, the cheese is fairly melted, and a good burrito with the chili on it, man.
With more than 30 years of working with restaurants, George and his wife knew how tough it would be opening their new venture, but a pair of unprecedented hurdles made their enterprise even more of a challenge.
Albuquerque Rapid Transit, or ART.
In October of 2016, the city began construction on the Albuquerque Rapid Transit, or ART project.
When they first city came and approached me, they said, "Don't worry, Mr. Griego, we won't be in front of your business more than 6 weeks." Ended up being a year and a half.
The project was finally finished in late 2019, but just a few months later, a second and more devastating challenge reared its ugly head. This time on a global stage.
I really thought we were going to close. Money was not coming in. People weren't able to come here.
Being the entrepreneur he is, George and his staff found a way not only to keep the business open, but to generate a major revenue stream through catering. The staff took thousands of orders during the pandemic, often delivering to offices downtown. As the state emerged from COVID restrictions, they discovered that they had built quite the reputation, all by word of mouth.
Our catering just grew and grew and grew. We did more and more and more. Our catering now is almost 50% of our business.
Nowadays, you are well advised to stake out a seat on their patio or dining room early before the breakfast and lunch crowds hit. But no matter how many diners are digging into their favorite dishes at the Central Grill and Coffee House, George and company promise to do their best to make you feel at home.
And if you treat people right, people will treat you right. You know, I mean, it's always been like that. You know, if you're helpful, people will help you. If you're generous, people will be generous to you. You know, I've always believed that, you know, so.
Coming up
we're riding the turquoise trail to Santa Fe, taking in the parade of unusual treasures all along the celebrated byway. And later, we're meeting the descendants of New Mexico's first organ donor, and it has nothing to do with medicine. Aventura will be right back. There are two main roads that you can take to get from Albuquerque to Santa Fe. One is I-25, which boasts some beautiful vistas of its own, and the other is the scenic and storied Turquoise Trail on the east side of the Sandias. The trail starts for us just off of I-40 and runs from Cedar Crest all the way up to Rancho Viejo near Santa Fe. At just over 50 miles in distance and with top speeds around 55 miles an hour, it may take you just a bit longer to get to the capital, but trust me, that time is well worth it. Our first stop is at the historic mining town of Madrid, or is it Madrid?
We call this lovely village Madrid.
Well, if I say Madrid, I get corrected by the locals. It's Madrid.
I see it both ways.
Well, what isn't up for dispute is the number of incredible shops to choose from.
You know, it may be hard to believe, but this small stretch of the Turquoise Trail that Madrid takes up has 21 shops and galleries within it, and that's not even including all the places that you can grab a bite to eat or grab a cup of coffee.
Of particular note is the historic Mine Shaft Tavern. The eatery features what they call roadhouse cuisine, which is perfect for travelers looking for Old West charm. Its eclectic design is the perfect representation of Madrid, and the cantina even features live music overlooking the main drag. After lunch, you could pick up your dessert along the way at Sugarman's Little Chocolate Shop.
Or if you're like me, you may be more interested in a cup of coffee at Java Junction.
In addition to a killer coconut milk latte, the Java Junction sells souvenirs, wearables, and even offers a stay at their upstairs bed and breakfast.
But we got a lot more of the Turquoise Trail we need to see, so there's no nodding off just yet. Let's go.
As you head north on the trail from Madrid, you may recognize this facade.
Time to slay some vampires, Padre.
Or this facade, if you pull off to check out the village of Cerrillos.
It gets a little strange because a lot of streets are shut off. Everybody's in costume wherever they're filming.
Todd Brown runs the Casa Grande Trading Post and Mining Museum, as well as the Cerrillos Petting Zoo. And if that weren't enough for the Long Island transplant who came to New Mexico in his late teens.
I love the village, I love the dirt roads, I love how everybody gets a little plot of land that you buy and you develop yourself and show yourself who you are to others.
He's also the village's film liaison.
The first film they did was The 9 Lives of El Fego Baca. They did it down the street here at Tiffany's on 1st and Main Street. Walt Disney came in and did that. That's a pretty good film. And then they came in and did Shootout with Gregory Peck. And everybody get $15 as an extra.
In addition to those titles, Cerrillos has served as a location for such films as Young Guns, John Carpenter's Vampires, We're the Millers, Outrageous Fortune, and more recently, the TV series Dark Winds, among other titles.
It's an honor for me. They come to see my petting zoo, or the trading post, or the museum.
After finding the perfect pair of Cerrillos turquoise earrings at the trading post, visitors can hit up the Cerrillos Community Church, take off on horseback with the Broken Saddle Riding Company, and wet your whistle at the Blackbird Saloon. But that's not all Cerrillos has to offer.
Wax has this organic feeling that just grows on you. And so it's real easy to get mesmerized as you walk around.
It's an incredibly unusual way of painting, but it's one that, surprisingly, has been around for millennia.
It's one of the oldest art forms in the world, and the Egyptians started it, and then way back in 2,500 years ago, and then the Greeks got into it more.
The Museum of Encaustic Art, just a stone's throw from the village of Cerrillos, is home to more than 500 works utilizing the practice of encaustics, or painting with wax.
Wow. And that's where encasticos come from, the term, which means burned in, because we use bees to be encaustic. It has to be beeswax and it has to be fused.
Douglas Marantz has been working in encaustics for more than 40 years. After retiring from his work in architecture and design, he and his wife Adrene devoted their time to the craft and established the Encaustic Art Institute in 2005. A decade later, they opened the Museum of Encaustic Art in Santa Fe's Rail Yards district.
We paint down, we heat the wax at 180 degrees, somewhere in there, in tins and all different ways, and then we use all kinds of tools to paint with.
However, when the pandemic hit and galleries were shuttered, they relocated the museum to Cerrillos, sitting now just feet from Douglas's studio, where he not only paints, he teaches the craft to others.
Almost every medium, people are experimenting with it to take what they already know of what their expertise is in and just popping the door open and experimenting with it and coming up with just extraordinary things.
The museum rotates through its collection, believed to be the largest in the United States annually. Just over 100 works are showcased at any given time, making a return trip every year a must for art lovers.
It is very rewarding, not just to meet people from around the world, but to talk about art. And to have, some of them already know about it, but never seen such a huge display of diverse artists and artwork.
When we come back, we're meeting the descendants of New Mexico's first organ donor, but it has nothing to do with medicine. The story behind this magnificent instrument and how the state has brought it back to life. It's a homecoming of sorts for John McNary Warren and his twin sister Sally.
Mrs. McNary was an organist, that's our grandmother. Was an organist of rare talent and accomplishment and had studied for a number of years in Boston.
The Albuquerque Metro residents have trekked up to the New Mexico Museum of Art and the St. Francis Auditorium in Santa Fe. And the reason they're back in this room? A family heirloom that has entertained New Mexicans for decades.
One of the things we've done with all of our grandnieces and grandnephews is bring them up here, show them the organ, explain the history of it.
What is their response when they come up? How do they...
They're fascinated, and they want their picture taken in front of the plaque and in front of the organ, and we've done that with, I think, just about everybody in the family.
The pipe organ in the St. Francis Auditorium is just as old as the New Mexico Museum of Art itself. According to James G. McNary's autobiography, This Is My Life, the instrument was commissioned by his family in 1916. The California Pipe Organ Company was tasked to build the massive instrument, with construction beginning in 1917.
And they did that, and it was a beautiful pipe organ.
Now, it may be difficult to believe, but this organ that stands roughly 3 stories high was originally built for a residential home in El Paso, Texas.
Hidden behind this ornately decorated facade are 2,045 pipes and reeds made from metal, leather, and wood. Peering just over the top of the wall is a pyramid of pipes that, when played, shakes audience members to their core. However, years later, as the Great Depression swept across the country, the McNarys left their home in El Paso to move to where else?
To McNary, Arizona.
But they reserved title to the organ, and eventually it was transported here.
James McNary was a board of directors on the School of American Research. He knew Dr. Hewitt, who was, of course, the founding director here at the Museum of Art and the New Mexico Museum System. And he reached out to him and said, would you like to have a pipe organ that was essentially built at the same time that the New Mexico Museum of Art was built in 1917? And so Hewitt said yes.
Hewitt made arrangements to have this behemoth of an instrument taken by truck up to the state capitol. Weighing more than 10 tons with thousands of components, it was no small task.
And of course you have to have expert pipe organ people to both disassemble it, safely transfer it, and then reinstall it here.
After it was assembled, northern New Mexicans were treated to the symphonic wind-powered instrument for years.
My cousin was married here with music from the organ, and our parents were married here
1939.
In 1939 with the background of the organ.
But decades of wear and tear called for a pair of renovations. One executed in 1956, the other in 2019, with with the generous support of Frederick Haas and the Philadelphia-based Wincote Foundation.
He really wanted to support us bringing it back to life. And so we had organ enthusiasts climbing in and out of the billows and the pipes, and they really said, this isn't actually in bad shape, especially for its age. It really was in good shape, but it needed some renovation and rehabilitation, as things do. As things get older, we all need a little TLC.
Weathering outdated wiring, dust-filled pipes, and a pandemic, the organ returned to operations in 2021, ushering in a new chapter of public performances.
The future of the organ is, in some ways, it's kind of what we've always been wanting to do with it while it wasn't functional.
Chris Nail, head of education for the Museum of Art, says that through collaboration with public organizations like Santa Fe's Pro Musica, the organ is center stage once again for concerts, holiday open houses, and a throwback to the dawn of cinema.
Our first silent film that we did was last October. We did a screening of Nosferatu, which to organ accompaniment was really amazing. We did a screening of Buster Keaton's The General, and in October we did another screening of Metropolis.
And for John and his sister Sally, it's an heirloom that connects them to their family and to the thousands that now enjoy its beautiful music.
We're very appreciative that the organ has been redone and kept up and maintained, and that there is so much beautiful music in this space.
I think it would have made my grandparents and great-grandparents very happy to know that it's still being used and still being played, and that it's a valuable asset here in Santa Fe.
Coming up, our last stop on the trip is to one of Santa Fe's best-kept secrets. But that secret is about to get out. The stunning night's end when we return on Aventura. Our final stop of the night is one that is full of surprises.
That's been a long-standing dream.
Sitting next door to the widely celebrated chocolate maven just off of San Mateo in Santa Fe is a nondescript warehouse that on normal days is identified by a simple B on the door. But as the week rolls on and the sun goes down, Unit B unfurls its magic for patrons of great food and great music.
When I was in high school, my best friend and I, who's a fabulous pianist in Boston, got together and we designed a place in our minds and on a sketch. It was called Boogie Tavern. This was in the 70s. We thought, oh, that's going to be the coolest place in town. So that was always, I guess, percolating back there. I don't know where these ideas come from. Yeah.
Chocolate maven owner Durham Andrew Segal and his family relocated from Los Angeles to Santa Fe back in the early 90s. The family then took ownership and resurrected the Chocolate Maven in 1996, moving it to this thriving spot in the heart of the city different. But in the back of Segal's mind was a speakeasy-inspired concept that would offer an intimate yet vibrant setting for musicians to entertain while patrons dine on fine cuisine.
What would it be to have a beautiful place that musicians could play in and feel good about it? Because you don't always. If you're in a restaurant, you're tucked into the corner and you're an afterthought. Here, the idea was to make the music the forethought, the primary thought.
As you make your way through the velvet ropes into Unit B's dining hall, you're immediately struck by the anachronism of the facade housing such a remarkable experience inside. Doors open at 5:30 and you are greeted by two massive tapestries handcrafted by the late Hector Jara, a weaver based just outside of Oaxaca, Mexico. Once seated, guests have quite an impressive dinner menu to choose from, including fish and chips, an Angus green chili cheeseburger, mushroom enmoladas.
We're getting these mushrooms, for example, from a place down south in Las Cruces with lion's mane mushroom.
As well as craft cocktails made with New Mexico spirits.
Then we have a really creative team making these craft cocktails.
1, 2, 3. Tonight's feature group is Entourage Jazz, an Albuquerque-based fan favorite and winner of multiple awards.
Thank you. It is so great to be here for the first time publicly in Santa Fe.
While Unit B has been a dream for several years, their doors have only been open for about a year. coinciding with the 2024 New Mexico Jazz Festival. And Segal says that their business model has proven wildly successful, which is evidenced by his audience at tonight's show.
We didn't start it as like, oh, we'll start this business plan and we can do this and invest that and make this much money. It was designed so that people, I have this wacky idea that people need to enjoy their lives.
It's certainly a city-different lifestyle, one that encourages quality of life over quantity of assets.
There's this buzz in the room. That's people having conversations over their meal. And it's a little anticipatory. They're waiting for the show. And when the show starts, they'll stop all that chatter, but they'll be focused on another show. And the idea is, at the end of this all, in a couple of hours, they'll walk out into that parking lot and turn to each other and say, wow, that was amazing. We don't get this in our lives.
From jazz to Americana, folk, world music, and even stand-up comedy.
We have these national touring acts that come through, and they're super funny.
Unit B is one of Santa Fe's newest destinations, and Segal and his entourage of employees, patrons, and guest artists all hope it's just the beginning of a beautiful friendship with the capital city.
Give people a good time, a fantastic, mind-blowingly good time, not just your average, oh yeah, that was a good time. And hopefully that's a business that we can create, because then it's win-win.
Well, it was a full day of stuff to see, do, eat, experience. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you're watching this, you've obviously got the Kirky Now app, and I encourage you to watch more of our great program that we have got. New Mexico Crime Files, New Mexico Strange, Beyond the Forecast, New Mexico News Insiders. And that is just the tip of the iceberg on the KRQE original programming. Until next time, I am Chad Brummett. Thank you for joining me on this Aventura. Safe travels back to Albuquerque, and we'll see you on the next one.